Hi, I'm Rob the accountant. I like to help people build companies while finding solutions to problems that may come your way. Have a question? Drop by robtheaccountant.com, scroll halfway down, hit the email, and send me your question. What I'd like to talk about today is no Ukraine in NATO. Again, sorry folks, no Ukraine in NATO. Look, the United States of America, since the end of World War II, is encroaching on the space of Russia and China. I am not a Donald Trump, let's get out of NATO person, but if you keep poking the bear, i.e. Russia, sooner or later, they're going to just get to a point where they're just over it. And for me, I still don't know. We have a continent, yes, a continent, folks. It's called South America. There's almost 1 billion people there. We don't do anything with them. We don't really trade any money, and our government constantly keeps leftist governments in a state of power down there, so that we're constantly dealing with this immigration problem when we could easily just work to strengthen some of the governments in South America to be more normal. And then we could trade with, close to 1 billion people down there. Think about it. No Navy all over Europe, no Air Force all over Europe. Why not just cover South and North and South America and Canada? That would be the great thing in my world. But Ukraine has been pushing forward, with Zelensky. And, you have to wonder now, we're 3 years into this, 2.5, 3 years into this. And so I want to show you some things here today, because what is not going to happen is I don't believe that NATO should ever let Ukraine in, because, that would signify really the beginning of World War III. I know everybody says, hey, we got World War III today. No, we don't. We don't have no World War III today. The GA is not at war. The other combatants, North Korea, Russia, and China, and Iran, they're not at war with us or anybody. So they just have proxies out there. But let's take a look at why I think Ukraine should never be on a path to NATO. And I want to just remind everybody this. This is really important. If the United States of America was attacked by Mexico, okay, think about this, folks. Mexico, the size of Ukraine in population, not necessarily the size in landmass, but if Mexico attacked the United States of America, right, for whatever their beef was, they felt they were justified. And suddenly the rest of the world started arming Mexico with missiles and tanks. How long would the United States sit by before we started knocking out those supply chains, right? That would be the reality. We'd start knocking them out. And one of the things that the United States of America is not telling the population of the United States of America is most of the planes in the air, most of the satellites, most of the spying, that's all us. That's the United States of America. That's our CIA. That's our Department of Defense. We're there. We're just not on the ground. We're in the air. And the air is not necessarily always considered airspace, depending on where you are within that airspace relative to, are you actually in Ukraine? But Russia thinks we're there. So once again, let me just jump over here to a couple things. The first thing is, I don't like death. I think unnecessary death, any death is unnecessary. But when you have war machines calling death, we're doing population control. And we should just say this is what we're doing, is population control. So let's just take a look at the casualties of the Russian-Ukraine war. In 2014, the annexation included 6 deaths and 14 to 4,000 in the war in Donbass, and up to 500,000 casualties during the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Think about that, folks. So in the first war, it was 14,000 service personnel. We are now at 500,000 people. 500,000 people. Is anybody who's in the United States of America, whatever your belief structure is, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Sikh, whatever you are, do you believe that 500,000 people deserve to die for no other reason that 2 stupid leaders can't sit down at a table and figure things out with another stupid leader named Joe Biden and his son who's milking it all up, right? So we got 4 people controlling the lives of 500,000 dead people, 500,000 dead people. And nobody says anything about it. We're just all content to go back watching Sunday football that's coming up soon. So what else about the cost of it? Let's take a look at the cost. To date, the U.S. has committed about $114 billion in Ukraine. $114 billion, folks. Think about that. And it's going to get, the debt, because obviously we don't have any money. We don't have any money for the United States. We don't have any money for the Americans. We don't have any money for our borders. We don't have any money to help our citizens. But hey, we're going to whack up almost $250 billion, right? $250 billion, so that once again, we can see 500,000 people plus another 500,000 people that are probably going to die. This is why it makes absolutely no sense for the G8, the NATO alliance right now, to let in Ukraine. First of all, their functioning government is just not, maybe you have to show maybe 20 or 30 years of being normal, the preservation of human rights, the preservation of due process, the preservation of law, the preservation of adequate counting relative to gap principles. Why don't we start with that for Ukraine, right? And ask Joe Biden, Vladimir Putin, and Mr. Zelensky to sit down and find a way that they can stop this war. Because it's more than 500,000 today, right? So this is more than 500,000 today. There's been deaths over the last few days and stuff. But it is time for Joe Biden, Putin, and Zelensky to end this war. And then, I think one of the biggest things, just before Trump gets in here and, messes everything up again, there's no reason for the NATO alliance to all go to war for Ukraine. There is no, other than strategic, okay, you can get to Russia here, you can get to the Chinese here. I mean, you could just sail ships around the other side, right, too. So we cannot hold that one piece of land in this gigantic thing of a planet is so important that we have to let 500,000 people, more than 500,000 people, because if NATO accepts Ukraine into the NATO alliance, and then Russia attacks, and then the alliance comes to defend, and that's China, Iran, North Korea. See, so that's the cost, and that's the result of such idiocy. And so I was never with Donald Trump on we got to get rid of NATO. But yes, we should start making the European countries pay their fair share. I guess they were until Joe Biden got in here. But at the end of the day, there it is again. At the end of the day, what we should all be doing is supporting life. And what I want to do is I want to support life. I believe that America stands for hope, peace, and using the strength of our military to enforce peace, goodwill, and gestures on the rest of the world. I'm Rob the Accountant. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope the rest of your weekend goes well. I hope some of this humidity across the country settles down. But again, once again, no NATO for Ukraine. Have a good day, folks. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.